So if you're currently producing a core piece of content on a weekly or monthly basis, something like a YouTube video, a newsletter, a blog article, a podcast, something that is a longer form piece of content for your business, then you're probably wondering how you can leverage that content and basically effectively convert that content into daily content that you could produce to generate leads directly from that content. And in this video, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't only be considering that, but this is really the next level strategy of what you should be doing with your content marketing. I'm going to show you a workflow that you can follow to do this as simply as possible, in addition to some tools that you can use that will make it so that you can actually produce good content. Now, before we get into the steps of exactly what to do, the first thing that I want to let you know about this strategy is, again, when we get into a marketing strategy, we're always wondering, is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth the effort that we invest? Is this something that we should do and should use our time for? In this instance, the answer is a resounding yes. Not only should you be taking the time to do this, but this is the perfect time to do it. And in addition to that, it's the next natural stage or the evolution of what you're doing with your YouTube video, your podcast, newsletter, etc. Now, the great thing about this is not only is producing daily content from that going to be something that allows you to get leads daily, to get some more impressions and more exposure, but it's also going to improve that source content that you're using, that YouTube video, that podcast, whatever it is that you're using. That thing is going to get lift and it's going to get better results because of what you're doing with your daily content. So this is going to be something that amplifies your existing system. And this is the perfect time to do this because we're now at a point with AI that we can use AI, especially when we have a piece of source content, something that we have produced with our own voice and our own words. We can use this as a piece of source content to then feed to AI and have AI create different types of content or different pieces of content that we can produce daily across different social platforms. But the benefit is it doesn't sound like AI, it sounds like us. And that's really what you want. You really want to make sure that it maintains your voice. So not only should you be doing this, not only will it make everything else you're doing work better, but also it doesn't have to be as labor intensive as it used to. And I'm going to show you some tools that you can use to basically cut the line and streamline this process, something that I've personally been working on, leveraging AI, pushing it to its limits to be able to create content that's good, that has viral components and still sounds like you. So let's dive into the first step, which is understanding the strategy and creating your plan. So what is the strategy? Well, what you're actually talking about doing here, using a piece of source content, like a YouTube video, a newsletter, podcast, right? Whatever that longer form type of content is that you want to use, this is actually a proven strategy that you're talking about using. This is what's called a hub and spoke content strategy. A hub and spoke content strategy is basically you have the source content like we're talking about, and you're producing daily pieces of content that are basically extracted from that. And the thought process that I always think of when I think about this strategy is like, if you go to Amazon and you buy a product and you add that to your cart, the next page it says, people who like this product also bought these products or also like these products. So basically when we're doing this with our content, where we're taking our source content and from that, we're extracting smaller pieces of content that we can publish daily on different social media platforms. When people consume those pieces of content, it's basically like people who like this tweet or this YouTube short or this LinkedIn post would also like this main source piece of content. And this is a great way to get people subscribing to your channel, following you, connected across different platforms, and opting in, which we're going to talk about how to make this content, basically have this content help you to convert into leads. So the first thing is understanding that this is an established strategy. And within this strategy, what you need to do is you need to implement a plan. So looking at it as I have this existing process, I have this existing piece of content that I produce on a certain cadence, weekly, monthly, whatever that is, I'd recommend weekly. Understanding that that is the core piece. Things do not change about that. What's going to change is what happens after. But before we know what to do, we have to create a more robust strategy, right? We have the hub, but now we need to add the spokes to this content strategy. And the spokes are the smaller pieces of content across different platforms. So the first thing that you need to do is you first need to understand which platforms your particular market is spending time on, that you can produce this daily content that's going to generate the leads and create this lift. Now, the best way to do this is to do some in-depth market research to generate a customer avatar. I say generate because these days the best way to do it is to use AI. So you use AI to generate a customer avatar, and that customer avatar should tell you which platforms your ideal market is on. And once you identify which platforms they're on, where are they spending time, why are they there, who are they following and taking advice from on those platforms, you now have a list of which other platforms you should be producing this spoke content on. This content that is from your main piece of content, from your hub content. This tells you where you need to produce content, which platforms, right? The platforms are the where. Each of those platforms have multiple types of content that you can produce. And so, for example, if you choose LinkedIn as a platform that you wanted to use, let's say you have a YouTube video that you produce every week. From that, you want to produce, let's say, 5 or 7 LinkedIn posts that you would, pieces of content that you would produce on the LinkedIn platform. What you have to ask is, once you get on the LinkedIn platform, you're like, okay, wait, actually LinkedIn has articles. I can do videos on LinkedIn. I can do newsletters on LinkedIn, and I can do posts on LinkedIn. So now I also have this decision to make of which of these media methods should I be using on the LinkedIn platform. And the fact of the matter is, all platforms that you're using have these types of decisions that need to be made. And here's how I recommend making them. If you're going from one platform to another, let's say you're going from YouTube and you're going to take that and you're going to convert it into shorter form LinkedIn content, then each platform also has a primary type of content or media that's used on that platform. So for example, if you were currently on YouTube, YouTube has long form video. Now they're trying to make short form video a more primary type of video, especially with mobile experience, but the behavior of YouTube users is to watch longer form video content. So that is the primary type of content on the YouTube platform. When you make a move over to a platform like LinkedIn or any other platform, every single platform has a type of content that is its core piece of content from its origins. When this platform was developed, this is the main type of content that people engaged with, and they're the most trained to use on this platform. Now, it can be very tempting to move to a platform and try to apply every single type of content at once. But what I would recommend is that instead of doing that, when you move to a new platform and you add these spokes, that you focus on the primary type of content on that platform. So for example, if you went from YouTube to LinkedIn, you may decide to use LinkedIn posts because LinkedIn doesn't have as good of a video watching behavior, and articles and newsletters don't get as much engagement and reach as posts. Why? Because the platform and the users on the platform are trained to get on the platform and interact with posts. Every single platform has this core type of content that at its roots, in its source code, in its users' behavior, is the main type of content that people are consuming on that platform. So when you move from one platform to another, you want to know which of those types of content is going to be the most effective on that platform. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to decide what platforms your market is on, and you have to identify the type of content people are consuming on that platform, and that's where you start. Now, what I would do is I would first build this in stages. So if I have my YouTube video, and I've been doing that for a few weeks, and that's the source content that I'm going to convert into other content, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to produce content now from this YouTube video on LinkedIn, and I'm going to do that once a day, 7 days a week or 5 days a week. I am going to get myself into a habit and behavior of meeting that goal consistently, of converting this into LinkedIn content that's being published and produced 5 posts per week, 7 posts per week, whatever that is that I set. I'm going to need to do this personally for at least 2 weeks before I add another channel or another type of content onto that platform. Now, if you're using a hub and spoke content model, you're probably going to identify the next platform that your customer avatar is on, and you're going to identify the primary type of content on that platform, and you're going to create content for that platform specifically. Do that for 2 more weeks. Make sure that you don't miss out or lose out on doing the YouTube video. Make sure that you don't miss out or lose out on doing the LinkedIn post and the inconsistency doesn't break. If you add on a new platform and you see inconsistency, this means, one, that you do not have enough efficiency, bandwidth, a good enough system to produce content regularly. And if you keep trying to push through, all that's going to happen is your content strategy is going to collapse on itself and you're going to lose consistency on all platforms. And that is the very last thing we want to do. So that's the first step. The first step is having that plan identified and knowing exactly where you're going to produce that content. Once you've identified that other type of content that you're going to produce, so in our example, we went from YouTube onto LinkedIn. What you're going to want to do is you want to view the YouTube content as an input or a source. You then want to create some AI prompts that are designed basically from specific viral LinkedIn post content. And you're going to want to create a prompt that analyzes viral posts, and then you're going to want to create a prompt that writes viral posts from that analysis. Now, at this point, that can sound really overwhelming, especially if you're not used to creating AI prompts or have not been working with AI very much. What I will tell you is even though AI is improving a lot, the last thing that you want to do is say, here's my YouTube video, write 7 LinkedIn posts from this. AI is improving a lot, but even with that improved input into your system, the AI is still not good enough to just produce good content directly from you doing that in ChatGPT or Claude. The prompt needs to be more specific and it needs to learn off of what's already working. Now, what I've done is I've put together a software tool called Content Magic, and Content Magic is where I've taken all of the social media platforms, hundreds of different pieces of viral content, and I've trained the system to take your existing source content and produce viral. I've designed it to basically do this work for you so you can just copy your transcript from your YouTube video and have it create all of the different types of content that you have decided that you're going to use as your spokes. And it's also going to fill in the blanks of your content strategy. Now, after you've done that, the next thing you're going to do, you've got all of this content. You now need to produce this in a way that it's going to generate leads for you. And we're going to do this in 2 ways. After you've produced the content, this is step 3, you're going to get it ready to post on those platforms. Once you post it on the platforms, you want to do 2 things. The first is you want to drive traffic back to your original source content. So if that's your YouTube video, your newsletter, your podcast, whatever it is, at the end of that content, you're going to want to say some sort of a call to action like, if you liked this post, then I think you would really love this YouTube video or to watch my YouTube channel, and you're going to link back to the source content. What I said before is when you use this strategy, we want to make it improve the content that you're already producing so you can get results and feedback faster from that. But we also want it to generate leads. So the way that we're going to have it generate leads is there's a few different strategies that we can use. First, you can also either in the post itself or in the comments, you can write your own comment on your content or your post, and you can use that as a secondary call to action to send people to a lead magnet, to encourage them to comment on the post where you can then send them a direct message, or to send them to a page where they can work with you. This is a great way to drive inbound lead generation from that content. And because you've produced a nice piece of content that provides value, it's really easy to just in one sentence have a call to action that directs people what to do to basically become a lead. And this is how you convert that content that you produce daily into leads. Now, you can do both, where you direct back to your main content and you ask them to opt in or send them somewhere to become a lead, or you can alternate. You can use one or the other based on, what you need. If you're trying to grow your channel or grow that source content platform, then you would just direct them back to that. If you're trying to get more leads, then you would focus more on the leads. Finally, the last way that you can use this content to produce leads daily is by engaging with the people who have commented on that content. And this can help you to build relationships with those people, convert them into potential referral partners. And if you get into the habit of doing these things to produce daily content from your source content, then you're going to be able to not only grow that original channel that you're trying to promote and get better results from it, but you're going to be able to get some crossover, and you're going to convert that audience into leads much more quickly and efficiently than you did just having the one platform. So that's how you break this down. I had mentioned the software that we built called Content Magic. I'm going to put a link to give you a trial of that and a demo of that in the link below this video. And if you like this type of content, you want to see more videos, you want to see more content on how to grow your business, I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.